Abdul Baha Abbas's Promulgation of Universal Peace. For years he fought their cause, enduring severe hardships, sacrificing life, family, treasure, all for his black brother until the Great War ended and the proclamation of freedom. But not equality, and that's not the whole reason why the Civil War was fought. By this effort and accomplishment, the black race throughout the world was influenced and benefited. Had this not been accomplished, the black man in Africa would still be bound by the chains of slavery. It's actually like 9 races of the Negroid subspecies. That's almost half of the races. There's 19 races. Therefore, the subspecies should everywhere be grateful, for no greater reference of humanism and courage and courageous devotion could be shown than the white man has displayed. Yeah, that's, well, okay. There was good for the Union fighting, but so we're stating it. If the blacks of the United States forgot the sacrifice, zeal, and manhood on the part of the whites, no ingratitude could be greater or more censurable. If they could see the wretched conditions and surroundings of the black people in Africa today, the contrast would be apparent, and the fact clearly evident that the black race in America enjoys incomparable advantages. The comfort and civilization under which they live here are due to the white man's effort and sacrifice. While there was still persecution going on, wasn't this the heyday of the Ku Klux Klan? Well, there were areas that were worse, I guess. Had this sacrifice not been made, they would still be in the bonds and chains of slavery, scarcely lifted out of aboriginal condition. See, that's where I disagree. The aboriginal condition tends to be better than what they call the civilization condition in terms of contentment and being in touch with nature and spirituality. And therefore, always show your gratitude to the white man. Eventually all differences will disappear, and you will completely win his friendship. God maketh no distinction between the white and the black. If the hearts are pure, both are acceptable unto him. God is no respecter of persons on account of either color or race. All colors are acceptable to him, be they white, black, or yellow. Anybody could have a tinge of yellow or something. That's not that. And just like I think white man's more likely to be red than than Native Americans, but inasmuch as all were created in the image of God, we must bring ourselves to realize that all embody divine possibilities. If you go into a garden and find all the flowers alike in form, species, and color, the effect is wearisome to the eye. The garden is more beautiful when the flowers are many-colored and different. The variety lends charm and adornment. In a flock of doves, some are white, some black, red, blue, yet they make no distinction among themselves. All are doves, no matter what the color. This variety in forms and colorings, which is manifest in all the kingdoms, is according to creative wisdom, and has a divine purpose. Nevertheless, whether the creatures be alike or all different, should not be the cause of strife and quarreling among them. Especially why should fellow man cause for discord in the color or race of his fellow creature? No educated or illumined mind will find where this differentiation and discord should exist, or that there is any grounds for it. Therefore the whites should be just and kind to the blacks, who in turn should reflect an equal measure of appreciation and gratitude. Then will the world become as one great garden of flowering humanity. Everybody should be grateful to anybody who's treating them right, but variegated and multicolored, rivaling each other only in the virtues and graces which are spiritual. Okay, we're playing the tumbler. You talk about gardening. May 12th, 1912. Talk at the Unity Church, Montclair, New Jersey. Notes by Esther Foster. I wish to speak upon the subject of divine unity, the oneness of God, before this revered assemblage. It is a self-evident fact that this phenomenal existence can never grasp nor comprehend the ancient and essential reality. Utter weakness cannot understand absolute strength. When we view the world of creation, we discover differences in degree which make it impossible for the lower kingdom to comprehend the higher. For example, the mineral kingdom, no matter how much it may advance, can never comprehend the phenomena of the vegetable kingdom. Whatever development the vegetable may attain, it can have no message from, nor come in touch with the kingdom of the animal. However perfect may be the growth of a tree, it cannot realize the sensation of sight, hearing, smell, touch, and taste. These are beyond its limitations. Although it is the possessor of existence in the world of creation, a tree nevertheless has no knowledge of the superior degree of the animal kingdom. Likewise, no matter how great the advancement of the animal, it can have no idea of the human plane, no knowledge of intellect and spirit. Difference in degree is an obstacle to this comprehension. A lower degree cannot comprehend a higher, although all are in the same world of creation, whether mineral, vegetable, or animal. Degree is the barrier and limitation. In the human plane of existence, we can say we have knowledge of a vegetable, its qualities and product, but the vegetable has no knowledge or comprehension of whatever of us. No matter how near perfection this rose may advance in its own sphere, it can never possess hearing and sight, inasmuch as in the creational world, which is phenomenal, difference of degree is an obstacle or hindrance to comprehension. How can the human being, which is a created exigency, comprehend the ancient divine reality which is essential? This is impossible, because the reality of divinity is sanctified beyond the comprehension of the created being man. Furthermore, that which man can grasp is finite to man, and man to it is infinite. It is possible, then, for the reality of divinity to be finite, and the human creature infinite. On the contrary, the reverse is true. The human is finite, while the essence of divinity is infinite. Whatever comes within the sphere of human comprehension must be limited and finite. All existence of divinity transcends the comprehension of man. Therefore God brings forth certain manifestations of the divine reality upon whom he bestows heavenly effulgences, in order that they may be intermediaries between humanity and himself. These holy manifestations or prophets of God are as mirrors, which have acquired illumination from the Sun of Truth. But the sun does not descend from its high zenith, and does not effect entrance within the mirror. In truth, this mirror has attained complete polish and purity, until the utmost capacity of reflection has been developed in it. Therefore the sun of reality, with its fullest effulgence and splendor, is revealed therein. These mirrors are earthly, whereas the reality of divinity, is in its highest apogee. Although its lights are shining, and its heat manifest in them, although these mirrors are telling their story of its effulgence, the sun nevertheless remains in its own lofty station. It does not descend, it does not effect entrance, because it is holy and sanctified. The sun of divinity and of reality has revealed itself in various mirrors. Although these mirrors are many, yet the sun is one. The bestowals of God are one. The reality of the divine religion is one. Consider how one and the same light has reflected itself in different mirrors or manifestations of it. There are certain souls who are lovers of the sun. They perceive the effulgence of the sun from every mirror. They are not fettered or attached to the mirrors. They are attached to the sun itself and adore it, no matter from what point it may shine. But those who adore the mirror and are attached to it become deprived of witnessing the light of the sun when it shines forth from another mirror. For instance, the sun of reality revealed itself from the Mosaic mirror. People who were sincere accepted and believed in it. When the same sun shone from the Messianic mirror, the Jews, who were not lovers of the sun, and who were fettered by their adoration of the mirror of Moses, did not perceive the lights and effulgences of the sun of reality resplendent in Jesus. Therefore they were deprived of its bestowals. Yet the sun of reality, the word of God, shown from the Messianic mirror through the wonderful channel of Jesus Christ, more fully and more wonderfully. Its effulgences were manifestly radiant, but even to this day the Jews are holding to their Mosaic mirror. Therefore, they are bereft of witnessing the lights of eternity in Jesus. There they go. That's a clear difference between the Baha'i movement and Islam, for example, is that the Baha'i kind of talk about, oh, this prophet's better than the others, and it's not material culture that gives way to new laws. It's, In brief, the sun is one, the light is one light which shines upon all phenomenal beings. Every creature has a portion thereof, but the pure mirror can reveal the story of its bounty more fully and completely. Therefore, we must adore the light of the sun, no matter through what mirror it may be revealed. We must not entertain prejudice, for prejudice is an obstacle to realization. Inasmuch as the effulgence is one effulgence, the human realities must all become recipients of the same light, recognizing in it the compelling force that unites them in its illumination. As this is the radiant century, it is my hope that the Sun of Truth may illumine all humanity. May the eyes be open and the ears become attentive. May souls become resuscitated and consort together in the utmost harmony as recipients of the same light. Perchance, God will remove this strife and warfare of thousands of years. May this bloodshed pass away, and the tyranny and oppression cease. This warfare be ended. May the light of love shine forth and illumine hearts, and may human lives be cemented and connected until all of us may find agreement and tranquility beneath the same tabernacle, and with the standard of the most great peace above us, move steadily onward. O thou kind Lord, O thou who art generous and merciful, we are thy servants and of thy threshold, we are the servants of thy threshold and are gathered beneath the sheltering shadow of thy divine unity. The sun of thy mercy is shining upon all, and the clouds of thy bounty shower upon all. Thy gifts encompass all, thy loving providence sustains all, thy protection overshadows all, and the glances of thy favor are cast upon all. O Lord, grant us infinite bestowals. Let the light of thy guidance shine. Illumine the eyes, gladden the hearts with abiding joy. Confer a new spirit upon all peoples and bestow upon them eternal life. Lock the gates of true understanding and let the light of faith shine resplendent. Gather all the people beneath the shadow of thy bounty and cause them to unite in harmony, so that they may become as the rays of one sun, as the waves of one ocean, as the fruit of one tree. May they drink from the same fountain. May they be refreshed by the same breeze. May they receive illumination for the same source of light. Thou art the giver, the merciful, the omnipotent. The 12th of May, 1912, talk at a meeting of the International Peace Forum, Grace Methodist Episcopal Church, West 104th Street, New York. Notes by Esther Foster. When we review history, from the beginning down to the present day, we find that strife and warfare have prevailed throughout the human world. Wars, religious, racial, or political, have arisen from human ignorance. Misunderstanding and lack of education. We will first consider religious strife and conflict. It is evident that the divine prophets have appeared in the world to establish love and agreement among mankind. They have been the shepherds and not the wolves. The shepherd comes forth to gather and lead his flock, and not to disperse them by creating strife. Every divine shepherd has assembled a flock, which formerly had been scattered. Among the shepherds was Moses, at a time when the tribes of Israel were wandering and dispersed. He assembled, united, and educated them to higher degrees of capacity and progress, until they passed out of the wilderness of discipline and the holy land of possession. He transformed their degradation into glory, changed their poverty into wealth, and replaced their vice by virtues, until they rose to such a zenith that the splendor of the sovereignty of Solomon was made possible, and the fame of their civilization extended to the east and to the west. It is evident, therefore, that Moses was a divine shepherd. He gathered the tribes of Israel together and united them in the power and strength of a great nationhood. When the messianic star of Jesus Christ dawned, he declared he had come together the lost tribes, or scattered sheep of Moses. It could be gathering the scattered law among the conservative and liberal movements. He had not only shepherded the flock of Israel, but brought together the people of Chaldea, Egypt, Syria, ancient Assyria, and Phoenicia. These people were in a state of utmost hostility, thirsting for the blood of each other with the ferocity of animals, but Jesus Christ brought them together, cemented and united them in his cause, and established such a bond of love among them that the enmity and warfare were abandoned. It is evident, therefore, that the divine teachings are intended to create a bond of unity in the human world and establish the foundations of love and fellowship among mankind. Divine religion is not a cause for discord and disagreement. If religion becomes the source of antagonism and strife, the absence of religion is to be preferred. Well, that apparently occurs even more with the absence of, but religion is meant to be the quickening life of the body politic. If it be the cause of death to humanity, its non-existence would be a blessing and benefit to man. Therefore, in this day, the divine teachings must be sought, for they are the remedies for the present conditions of the world of humanity. The purpose of a remedy is to heal and cure. If it be productive of worse symptoms, its absence or discontinuance is preferable. At a time when the Arabian tribes and nomadic peoples were widely separated, living in the deserts under lawless conditions, strife and bloodshed continual among them, no tribe free from the menace of attack and destruction by another. At such a critical time, Muhammad appeared. He gathered these wild tribes of the desert together, reconciled, united, and caused them to agree, so that the enmity and warfare ceased. The Arabian nation immediately advanced until its dominion extended westward to Spain and Andalusia. From these facts and premises, we may conclude that the establishing of divine religions is for peace, not for war, and the shedding of blood, inasmuch as all are founded upon one reality, which is love and unity. I'm not saying too much practical, just repeating the word love a lot, but that's a start, I guess. The wars and dissensions which have characterized the history of religion have been due to the imitations and superstitions which arise afterwards. Religion is reality, and reality is one. The fundamentals of the religion of God are, therefore, one in reality. There is the difference. There is neither difference nor change in the fundamentals. Variance is caused by blind imitations, prejudices, and adherence to forms which appear later, and inasmuch as these differ, discord and strife result. If the religions of the world would forsake these causes of difficulty and seek the fundamentals, all would agree, and strife and dissension would pass away, for religion and reality are one, and not multiple. Other wars are caused by purely imaginary racial differences, for humanity is one kind, one race, and progeny, inhabiting the same globe. In the creative plan, there is no racial distinction and separation such as Frenchman, Englishman, American, German, Italian, or Spaniard. All belong to one household. These boundaries and distinctions are human and artificial, not natural and original. All mankind are the fruits of one tree, flowers of the same garden. waves of one sea, and in the animal kingdom no such distinction and separation are observed. The sheep of the east and the sheep of the west would associate peacefully. The oriental flock would not look surprised, as if saying, "These sheep of the Occident, they do not belong to our country." All would gather in harmony and enjoy the same pasture, without evidence of local or racial distinction. Well, there'd be the evidences of that, but not the, necessary separation based on that. The birds of different countries mingle in friendliness. We find these virtues in the animal kingdom. Shall man deprive himself of these virtues? Man is endowed with superior reasoning power and the faculty of perception. He is a manifestation of divine bestowals. Shall racial ideas prevail and obscure the creative purpose of unity in his kingdom? Shall he say, "I'm German, I am a Frenchman, or an Englishman," and declare war because of this imaginary and human distinction? God forbid. The earth is one household, and the native land of all humanity. Therefore, the human race should ignore distinctions and boundaries, which are artificial and conducive to disagreement and hostility. We have come from the East. Praise be to God. We find this continent prosperous, the climate salubrious and delightful, the inhabitants genial and courteous, the government equitable and just. Shall we entertain any other thought and feeling than that of love for you? Shall we say this is not our native land, and therefore everything is objectionable? This would be gross ignorance, as to which man must not subject himself. Man is endowed with powers to investigate reality, and the reality is that humanity is one in kind and equal in the creative plan. Therefore, false distinctions of race and native land, which are factors and causes of warfare, must be abandoned. Consider what is happening in Tripoli, how the poor are being killed, and the blood of the helpless is being shed upon both sides. Children made fatherless, fathers lamenting the death of their sons, mothers bewailing the loss of their dear ones, and what is the benefit after all? Nothing conceivable. Is it, therefore, justifiable? The domestic animals do not manifest hatred and cruelty towards each other. That is the attribute of the wild and ferocious beasts. In a flock of 1,000 sheep you will witness no bloodshed. Numberless species of bird are peaceful in flocks. Wolves, lions, tigers are ferocious because it is their natural and necessary means for obtaining food. Man has no need of such ferocity. His food is provided in other ways. Therefore, it is evident that warfare, cruelty, and bloodshed in the kingdom of man are caused by human greed, hatred, and selfishness. The kings and rulers of nations enjoy luxury and ease in their palaces and send the common people to the battlefield. Offer them as food and targets of cannon. Each day, they invent new instruments for the more complete destruction of the foundations of the human race. They are callous and merciless towards their fellow creatures. What shall atone for the sufferings and grief of mothers who have so tenderly cared for their sons? What sleepless nights have they spent, and what days of devotion and love have they given to bring their children to maturity? Yet the savagery of these warring rulers causes great numbers of their victims to be torn and mutilated in a day. What ignorance and degradation! Yea, even greater the ferocious beasts themselves than the ferocious beasts themselves. For a wolf will carry away and devour one sheep at a time, whereas an ambitious tyrant may cause the death of 100,000 men in a battle, and glory in his military prowess, saying, "I am commander-in-chief, I have won this mighty victory." Considering the ignorance and inconsistency of the human race, if a man kills another, no matter what the cause may be, he is pronounced a murderer, imprisoned or executed. But the brutal oppressor who has slain 100,000 is idolized as a hero, conqueror, or military genius. A man steals a small sum of money, he is called a thief and sent to the penitentiary. But the military leader who invades and pillages a whole kingdom is acclaimed heroic and a man of mighty valor. How base and ignorant is man! In Persia, previous to the middle of the 19th century, among the various tribes and peoples, sects and denominations, there existed the greatest animosity, strife, and hatred. At that time, too, all the other nations of the East were in the same condition. Religionists were hostile and bigoted. Sects were enmity. Races hated each other. Tribes were constantly at war. Everywhere, antagonism and conflict prevailed. Men shunned and were suspicious of each other. The man who could kill a number of his fellow creatures was glorified for his heroism and strength. Among religionists, it was esteemed a praiseworthy deed to take the life of one who held an opposite belief. At this time, Baha'u'llah arose and declared his mission. He founded the oneness of the world of humanity, proclaimed, "All are servants of the loving and merciful God," while he wasn't the only one, "who has created, nourished, and provided for all. Therefore, why should men be unjust and unkind to each other, showing forth that which is contrary to God? As he loves us, why should we entertain animosity and hate? If God did not love all, he would not have created, trained, and provided for all. Loving kindness is the divine policy. Shall we consider human policy and attitudes superior to the wisdom and policy of God? This would be inconceivable, impossible. Therefore, we must emulate and follow the divine policy, dealing with each other in the utmost love and tenderness. Baha'u'llah declared the most great peace and entertained arbitration. He voiced these principles in numerous epistles which were circulated, broadcast throughout the East. He wrote to all the kings and rulers, encouraging, advising, and admonishing them in regards to the establishment of peace, making it evident by conclusive proofs that the divine happiness and glory of humanity can only be assured through a disarmament and arbitration. This was nearly 50 years ago because he promulgated the message of universal peace and international agreement. The kings of the Orient arose against him, for they did not find the personal and national benefits advanced by his admonition and teaching. They persecuted him bitterly, inflicted upon him every torment, imprisoned, bastinadoed, banished him, and eventually confined him in a fortress. Then they arose against his followers. For the establishment of international peace, the blood of 20,000 Baha'i soldiers was spilled. Their homes were destroyed, their children made captives, and their possessions pillaged. Yet none of these people waxed cold or wavered in devotion of establishing the Baha'i kingdom. Even to this day, the Baha'is are persecuted, and quite recently a number were killed. For wherever they are found, they put forth the greatest efforts to establish the peace of the world. They not only promulgate principles, they are the people of action. In Persia today, the Baha'i movement is different than, it was always different. But in Persia today, they've been given full freedom and established as a permitted people as of 1983. So the Islamic Revolution gave them a lot of freedom. And because of that freedom and the actual knowledge about them being proliferated freely, people have left the Baha'i group. They're no longer gaining members. Through the teachings of Baha'u'llah, you will find people of various beliefs and denominations living together in the utmost peace and agreement. The former enmities and hatred have passed away. They have exercised the utmost love towards all mankind, for they realize and know that all are the creatures and servants of one God. This is directly due to the divine teachings. At most, it is simply this, that the ignorant must be educated, the ailing must be healed, those who are, as children, in the scale of development must be helped to reach the age of maturity. We must not be unfriendly to anyone because of ignorance. Neither must we reject the immature or turn away from the sick. but administer the remedy for each human need until all are united in the providence of God. Therefore, it is evident that the essential foundations of the divine religions are unity and love. Well, there's only one divine religion taught with different teachers, but we don't need to accept contradiction. You tolerate differences. If religion be productive of discord among mankind, it is a destroyer and not divine, for religion implies unity and binding together and not separation. Mere knowledge of principles is not sufficient. We all know and admit that justice is good, and there is need of volition and action to carry out and manifest it. For example, we might think it good to build a church, but simply thinking of it as a good thing will not help its erection. The ways and means must be provided. We must will to build it, and then proceed with the construction. All of us know that the international peace is good, that it is conducive to human welfare and the glory of man, but volition and action are necessary before it can be established. Action is essential. Inasmuch as this century is a century of light, capacity for action is assured to mankind. Necessarily, the divine principles will be spread among men until the time of action arrives. Surely this has been so, and truly the time and conditions are ripe for action now. All men know that verily war is a destroyer of human foundations, and in every country of the world this is admitted and apparent. I find the United States of America an exceedingly progressive nation, and government just, the people in a state of readiness, and the people of equality established to an extraordinary degree. Therefore is my hope, inasmuch as the standard of international peace must be upraised. It may be upraised upon this continent, for the nation is more deserving and has greater capacity for such an initial step than any other. If other nations should attempt to do this, the motive would be misunderstood. For instance, if Great Britain should declare for international peace, it would be said that it has been done so to ensure the safety of her colonies. If France should hoist the standard, other nations would declare some hidden diplomatic policy underlies this action. Russia would be suspected of national designs if the first step were taken by that people, and so on, with all the European and Eastern governments. But the United States of America could not be accused of any selfish interest. And what was I going to say?